Hello and welcome back to the next video in the Rebecca Hoot Autumn Bliss series. And so today we're going to be creating an autumn rainbow in our journal. So I really wanted to do something a little, not your traditional rainbows and the colors that I'm really loving this fall is the yellow, orange, and the teal, like the turquoisey teal color. And so that's what I'm going to go ahead and do with my rainbow. So I just showed you that Liquid X clear gesso, and I put that on my page on my pages prior to painting. And the clear, which is a little bit different than the regular white gesso, is it kind of is it leaves like a coarse texture on your page, and I was actually introduced to it with the rebookery, and so yeah. So anyway, I used that. I kind of wanted a texture type page. Also, it really does grasp the acrylic paint that I'm using here. I'm just using some regular acrylic craft paint to create my rainbow, and I'm mixing it with some white to give it a little bit of shadowing where it's not just one straight color, that you see some different lighter, darker tones in there as well. So anyway, so yeah, so I'm just basically going to be creating a rainbow here in my page, but then what I'm going to do is kind of take my scarecrow that we created yesterday, or whenever you guys have a chance to create your scarecrow, and I'm going to put her on this page. So I'm actually going to be making taking two of the prompts and putting it onto one page. So yeah, so I loving these colors, by the way. I'm just really into adding the touch of turquoise um, to my even my decorations in my home and things like that. I find myself uh, using turquoise and pink this year. So um, and I'm sure it's been around for a while to use these colors with orange and autumn colors, but I'm using them this year. So anyway, so now I'm just going to tear what I had originally thought about doing before I decided to put the paint was I was going to just do tissue paper rainbow. And I think I made one a couple years ago in the school series that I did, or a year ago, something like that. But I decided that really and truly I just wanted to kind of add a little bit of different textures with the tissue paper, and so I'm just using those colors. I'm just adding those to my rainbow just to kind of give it a little bit of different texture onto the page. And so yeah, so I'm just kind of adding that, and once I add it on there, the paint is still quite wet, and so I'm just actually kind of putting a little bit additional paint on top of top of the rainbow, on top of the tissue paper on the rainbow. So that way it kind of just blends all in together. And really, I'm going to be layering things up here in just a minute. So the tissue paper is more or less, if you touch the page, it just gives it some feel. It doesn't really, you can't really tell, I guess, so to speak. But so I wanted to cover up the white in the background. So but I didn't want to use any like acrylic paint. I wanted to kind of have us have it where it's just a light color, just so I can not have that stark white in the background. So I'm just going to be adding a little bit of watercolor. As you can see, with this clear gesso, I mean, you may not be able to see, it doesn't really, it will take it, but it doesn't take it like regular paper. It kind of like almost takes a while for it to dry a little bit. And I actually kind of like the way that it takes watercolor, even though it kind of acts as like a resistance, but it does color it. Because looking at my page now, it's completely dry, and it did grasp that. So I may have to experiment a little bit more with that. So I just had it dry a little bit before I put my scarecrow on, and I'm just going through some ephemera that I have. Again, I'm trying to use up my things that I've had forever, and this is from the Happy Marigold. I just found out that she has an Etsy shop, so she sells a lot of her stuff digital. I did buy some things, I haven't printed them out yet, but yeah, so go check her out on Etsy. It's the Happy Marigold, and she has a lot of really cute, like that crochet doily up there in the left-hand corner was something that I had ordered from her a couple years back and using it. So anyway, so these are some leaves that I bought at a at Warrington Antique Show. I wish she would come back. She wasn't there last year, but I know with COVID and everything, it could have been why she didn't come back. But she had so many. Oh my gosh, I loved her booth. It was a paper crafter vintage girl love because she had, I mean, anything and everything, but a lot of stuff you could do in your journaling. And I absolutely loved shopping in her booth. In fact, I went back and got more things. So, yeah, it was a good booth. But anyway, she just had these punch flowers for like a whole bag of them for like $2. I couldn't pass it up. So now that I kind of have things, idea of where I want them, I'm actually going to be using some Mod Podge to um, decoupage to put everything down on paper. I decided I had a little bit of paint left, so I'm just going to add it to my dream journal here, just so I don't waste the paint. And so I'm just going to take a moment to brush those colors on to my journal, and that way we're just already set to create a page and don't waste any paint there. But anyway, so yeah, so after I do this, I'm gonna be using my favorite decoupage, and I'm going to be adhering the scarecrow and all the things to the rainbow page. Now, just kind of keep in mind too that once I adhere it down and I have it and everything's in place, I'm going to let it dry, and then I'm going to come back in and do another coat. I don't want it to be sticky, and typically this decoupage is not sticky, but I know that I'm using paint as well. So I got a great tip from I believe it was Never Hopeless Elizabeth, and she said you could put baby powder, like just kind of brush it on there, and it will, or whatever that cooking stuff is called. I don't cook, so but put it on there just so it doesn't stick the pages together. So just to kind of let you guys know that will be something I'll be doing, but after it dries completely. So I put a generous amount of this decoupage on the back of my scarecrow. And the only thing that's going to be kind of a challenge here, I think, is the crease in my pages, because the leaf will probably end up being creased. So I'll have to work on that. Leaf is actually the kind we used on our wands. It's actually almost like a floral leaf. It's not material, so it's almost like a ribbon. And so it's going to be kind of a challenge because I don't really think this glue sticks very well. I've tried to kind of stick these on with that glue before, and it just doesn't quite do it. So we'll have to work out something on that end to get it to stick good, and that way it doesn't look strange later on down the line when you open the page up and the leaf is all like, it's still stuck to the page. So I'll have to work on that and figure out how I'm going to do that. Even if I put just like a little staple in there, I'm perfectly fine with that. So yeah, so I've glued down the leaves, and now I'm just going to be doing a little bit of fussy cutting around that crocheted piece. That is such a cool idea, is to take some of these older, like I've done this with like old Barbie dresses and stuff, handmade Barbie dresses, and just kind of made where they become a die cut. I love that. It's really kind of texture. It looks like texture even though it's still paper. So that's a pretty cool technique. And so I love this little orange doily here. It looks perfectly, it'll go perfect with this scarecrow, because she's kind of got that vintage look to her as well, with her little floral shirt on. So I'm just adding a place just to kind of, because I'm going to be putting my date stamp up there, and just going to be doing like a little layered of clustered journaling spots. I am going to be doing a quote from Emily Bront on this page, and so I'll be doing that in just a moment, but just kind of trimming the edges up here. By the way, if you don't have these Tim Holtz scissors, I bought them a while back, and then someone mentioned them. I think it was doing fussy cutting, And I'm like, I need to use those. And they are really great scissors. I'm like, I can't believe I've had them in my little box over here and I haven't really used them. And so I've been using them quite a bit lately and I really, really like them. Um, so yeah, so I'm just taking some stickers, actually from the, I think it was a Sticker Club, Autumn is Calling kit. And then just adding, there's several leaves on there that I'm adding to the page. And here we go. I'm going to be writing my quote. I'm using a micron pen. And my quote is, "Every leaf speaks bliss to me, fluttering from the autumn tree." And that is just a line from one of her poems that I have online. And I also put that line item on the back of my journal, my Autumn Bliss journal, because I really, I love leaves, I love autumn. So, and then it just goes perfectly with this series because it says, "Every leaf speaks bliss." So I thought it was kind of perfect there. So yeah, so I'm just going to write that in there, and then I'm actually going to just start adding little bits and doodling on the page here. I thought I would start out with a pencil, but it wasn't quite grasping. And then I remembered my Posca pens that I haven't really used in a while, so I was brought I kind of brought those out and just kind of making some polka dots in here on my rainbow, just to kind of, again, adding different textures, visual textures to the rainbow as well. And yeah, just kind of pulling out different colors here and there, adding polka dots, um, filling up my white spaces and pages, filling up the page with just a lot of little mixed media items here, using all the things because we have all the things, so why not use them? So, so yeah, so just while I'm doing this, I'm going to kind of talk a little bit. So I have one more video left. It's called The Pumpkin Patch, and it's going to be another kind of piece similar to this. The story that I want to tell, though, I'm going to come in later and tell it because we are going to be going to a pumpkin patch. I wanted to go this weekend, but we're all just exhausted from going so much, so I think we're going to try to plan it for the following weekend. And but anyway, it's a local farm here that you can feed the dairy cows. I think you can even they have dairy cows, and I think you can even, like, um, what do you call it? Milk the cow. uh, we'll see. I don't know. I know it's going to be super busy right now because it is fall here, so weather is feeling so much nicer, and it's also it's got a pumpkin patch there, and it's got a little shop there. And so yeah, I think it's going to be kind of a little busy, but I think it'll be fun too. So yeah, so we're going to be creating our pumpkin patch, but again, the story that I'll be telling will be done later on after I go, and it's going to be also part of my autumn bucket list is to go to. I've been wanting to go to this farm forever, and then the more I read about it, the more I'm intrigued. And it's got such great reviews, so I definitely want to go check it out. So just adding little bits of washi here that actually has some of those colors that I'm using, just a darker teal on there. And yeah, I'm just kind of adding some bits and pieces here and there. Of course, you saw I put my date stamp down, and yeah, I think that's it. I think it turned out really cute. I love my little scarecrow. And so I hope you guys are inspired. I've seen some online and they're looking great. Keep continuing using CWR Autumn Bliss. So I can definitely check out your journaling pages and things that you've done using the prompts. Again, thanks for joining, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.